picked up by Tomlinson, and he's looking to fetch it forward and brought down short of his own 20. Jordan Thompson and McQuiston involved in that tackle. Continue to look to bring it up the middle now, do the Rams through Harvey Roberts. Roberts taken down. Holgate and Turnbull. 22-23 metres away from the own line are the Rams in at centre field, and they're going to be brought down just short once more of their own 30. So Whitehaven's defence slightly on top in the early stages, but they've only got one marker as Aaron Turnbull's left down on the ground. Come out now to the back rower in Matt Garside. It's a shortened 13-40, so they're just past that 40 now are the Rams, and Max Shane dives in at dummy half. Craig on this occasion. Big brother Jack diving in now on the final tackle. They are over the halfway are the Rams, going to be trying to put plenty of pressure on Jacob Hookham. Even Bigger Dyke lost the ball in the sun, and it's going to be nearly kicked forward. It's going to be collected by Mitchell Todd, but he just lost it. He had to shield his eyes there, did Ethan Bigger Dyke. Whitehaven will have that to contend with in the first half, and pretty much the perfect start from the Dewsbury Rams, Gary.
Yeah, they didn't do anything special, did they? They just carted the ball up the middle of the field hard and strong, and found the front, played a bit quick. Got to halfway a little bit too easily for me. I thought Whitehaven did a pretty good job of containing the first 2 or 3 plays, and then ball out to Garside on this left side back row, and they were over the halfway line. As I said, I think the conditions played a part in that kick there. Bickerdike struggling with the sun and the wind, and now they're finally defending their own try line.
Ball goes out, a couple of pairs of hands, finds Caleb Jordan on the right hand side. He's going to be brought down 3-4 metres out, only 2 or 3 metres in from the touchline. Potential of a knock on from Tomlinson in there to dummy half, but waved away from our man in the middle this afternoon, Denton Arnold. Jacob Hookham's the man that's now going to have to play this ball. Comes left into the middle with Tomlinson once more. That's Deck Tomlinson. Gets the ball away into the hands then of Collinson, the loose forward. He's taken down. Knocking on the door here in the early stages are the Rams. Comes into the hands of Tomlinson once more. Deck once more. Deck in the middle, Keenan out on the wing. The Tomlinsons. Comes left into the hands now of Dan Coates. Coates with the sidestep. And it's a last gasp tackle. Nearly got past Ethan Bickerdike. Jordan Thompson actually come to the help of Bickerdike there. They've got one more tackle to survive here. Of Whitehaven. Going to pop it up into the hands of Tomlinson once more. And I thought he'd lost that there. He has. He'd lost that there. That's Deck Tomlinson. The line was begging. And just as he went to put the ball down, he lost it. Did the big prop forward, and Whitehaven survive just.
I think Anthony done a little bit of work there. Dewsbury are known for that play close to the line with Deck Tomlinson. Nine just steps out, he comes back against the grain, but there were plenty of numbers there for Whitehaven to get hands into the tackle and force the knock on when he crashed over the line. But he'll be pleased with that, will Anthony? They've defended their own try line pretty well there, put under the pump with that first knock on, and this is their first touch with the ball. They just need to try and get away from their own try line and put pressure on Dewsbury down there under the field.
Shouts of Aaron Turnbull being taken over the horizontal. He waved it away to Denton Arnold. It's Jordan Thompson, the man that's been taken down now. Centre field on the Haven 30. Newbegin with the show and go, and then he has broke through the tackle there. There's Jack Newbegin. He's got Mason Lufway in support on his left hand side. Elects to take the tackle himself, and then he's going to be a penalty now. So that is Craig McShane. They picked him up and dumped him illegally, says Denton Arnold, and changed defence into attack straight away there. Did Whitehaven great work from the former Millen man.
Yeah, nice play from the half back there. Nice show and go through the line. Brushed up a couple of tackles. Thought he had some support on his outside there, but Dewsbury players got back well and stopped any support play. I think they're going to take 2 here, I think, just to get themselves in front on the scoreboard. But end-to-end stuff at the minute, and it probably defence is not at the best at the minute. You know, I think a knock on there from Whitehaven, and then Dewsbury missed a tackle there in the middle of the field. So I think defences either side need to tighten up a little bit.
We've got a stoppage because Joe Summers is down here in back plate for the Rams. He's going to get a thumbs up from the physio. The doctor, the Dewsbury doctor down below us, was looking quite interested in that one, but has taken the physio's word for it, and it looks like Whitehaven will just take the tap from sort of this position rather than attempting to go for goal. It's a windy afternoon. You maybe want to ensure that you are going to take a 2 points. That might be a little bit easier than potentially what would be on offer there for Whitehaven this afternoon. So they're going to allow Summers to get back in place, and it'll be Mason Lufway to take the tap. I imagine that they will come right, and it does straight away into the hands of Jack Newbegin and into the hands now of Jordan Thompson. Thompson put down onto his back, 28 metres out here are Whitehaven. Holgate comes right, then finds Aaron Turnbull, calls for the forward pass from Tyra to Turnbull, but Turnbull's done well, and within sort of 10 metres definitely there now are Whitehaven. Holgate comes left to Tyra. Tyra looks to step up and take that on himself. Kieran Tyra is just going to be hauled down, is the halfback, but Whitehaven only and me to the sub out here. Comes right into the hands of Jack Kellett, and Kellett powers over, twists out of the tackle, does the loose forward, and it's Whitehaven that have the first score of the afternoon. There's less than 5 minutes on the clock here at the Flair Stadium. BBC Radio Cumbria Sports Online. It is Rams 0, Haven 4.
Great start for Whitehaven. I thought they might have taken two there because they were in good position, but clearly Andy wanted his team to have a crack at Dewsbury's try line, and they've come up with the goods. They've scored a good try there. I mentioned him earlier, Kelly. He's a handful. He's hard to handle. He's low centre of gravity, but he's a powerful kid, and similar play to Dewsbury. Tomlinson knocked on over the line. No mistake, crashed over for a well-earned try, and 6 points because he should kick this one. And great start for Whitehaven. Great start.
It will be Kieran Synet to take the kicking duties this afternoon in the absence of Con Brown. So he's not only taken the role in at half-back, he's taken over the kicking duties as the former Oldham man. Well, like I said, just 9 metres out, right in front. I will always say, though, I've seen them missed. I was at Keighley, I always say it was at Keighley a good few years ago now when the Keighley man, I can't remember who it was on the afternoon, but rattled the crossbar from right in front. So you've always just got to make sure with these ones, but Kieran Tyler does, and it is now Dewsbury 0, Whitehaven 6, and after surviving, you know, they're knocking on the door in the first set, they've gone 100 metres, including a penalty there, Gary, and being able to get the 4-pointer.
Yeah, that's the one that, from Dewsbury's point of view, you know, they've come up with the error when they should be. They probably should feel they should be 6 points up, and they're not. Then they've let a midfield break from the half-back, given a penalty away, and Whitehaven have capitalised on the field position and deserve to be in front.
Newbegin collects the kick-off, potentially forward to Jordan Thompson there, but referee Detnarnell not too interested in that one. Plays the ball just Jordan Thompson into the hands now of McQuiston, who's hasn't missed a beat since he returned to the team following that knee injury and his impressive start to the season. And Max Anderson-Miller off the wing now to try and take his side forward in the middle, and he's done well there to get a few post-contact metres and take it and put it on just over the Whitehaven 40. Comes right now into the hands of Tyner. Tyner just lays it up for the captain out there this afternoon, Conor Holliday, who finds his front and finds halfway. Goes left into the hands of Holgate, out the back then to Newbegin. Newbegin's going to look to put the kick in behind Keenan Tomlinson, not a natural winger, so you find that might be an action they take this afternoon, but he collects, and McQuiston's there, Lufwaite's there, Newbegin's in there as well. 11-12 metres out here are the Rams, and they've got some work to do to try and take his side forward. Caleb Jordan's now trying to do that, but still short of the own 20, and Jordan might be struggling there, just picked up a knock in tackle, and he's going to need the physio to come and see him there. Is he okay just to go ahead and continue? He's going to be okay to go ahead and continue. Plays the ball. Whitehaven will try and look to pin them behind their own 20 once more here, and they can do. This will be the third tackle. Whitehaven's defence on top in this set so far. Looking to come down their left hand side once more. The Whitehaven right on the fourth tackle. 28 metres away from their own line as the Rams play the ball. Copland had to go in there at dummy half. Calls for a forward pass. Once more, it's a shortened 13-40, but Whitehaven will pin Dewsbury just before that 40. It is now the 5 and last, 7.5 gone here at the Flair Stadium. Goes right into the hands of Hookham, and Hookham will get the kick away. It's going to be allowed to bounce on this occasion. It'll bounce kindly, bounces a couple of times, and then kindly into the hands of Ethan Bickerdike. Bickerdike will be the man to fetch it forward, but a great defensive effort from Whitehaven there, Gary.
Yeah, they started the game really well, apart from that first error from Bickerdike. They've certainly recovered from that. Their intentions are pretty clear coming out of backfield. They're just working that middle channel out. They're trying to work over some of those Dewsbury forwards and tire them out and then get a good kick away. But the transition into kick chase has been very good, and they've limited Dewsbury, and now they've got another penalty. So the game plan's working. Let's just work hard getting out of our exit zone, kick well, chase well, and put Dewsbury under pressure.
Penalty there for a high tackle on Max Anderson-Miller. Referee Denton Arnold has took Whitehaven back, I think 2 or 3 metres further back than where the initial shot was, but Jack Newbegin will kick for touch, and on a windy afternoon he's done well to make 25 metres there as Jack Newbegin. So it'll be Max Anderson-Miller showing no ill effects of that high tackle that goes and collects the ball from the touchline, passes inside to Lufwaite, who takes a tap and finds Newbegin. He'll find Aaron Turnbull back in the side this afternoon, the former England Community Lion. Into the Dewsbury half. Tyra now with ball in hand will find Jordan Thompson, and Thompson will bounce off one man before being taken down. That man was Jack McShane. Holgate in a dummy half, goes left into the hands of Kellett. Kellett dummies and goes himself, trying to find a gap there as he does quite often. Does the loose forward. Whitehaven within 20 now. Jordan Thompson Now within 10, 7 or 8 metres out, in line with the right hand side post. Holgate in there, a dummy half, comes right, going to look to put a little neat kick in behind. It's lost, it's a Whitehaven, fresh Whitehaven set of 6. Ellison Holgate will judge to have been held up, but a little neat kick in behind there, and Kieran Sider says probably the most important thing: let's keep calm.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear what Anthony thinks, that he can take Dewsbury on down the middle of the field, because they've not ventured far from that middle channel. Going short side here with Connor Holiday
taken down 2 metres if that out. Holgate in there at dummy half, we'll look to pass it back inside to Jordan Thompson, and Thompson's just going to be held up. Is he going to be held up over the line? He is, so Whitehaven will come back 10 metres once more. They're just trying to get in the same areas there at Whitehaven. An opportunity now to maybe shift this ball left. Will they take that option? Holgate in there at dummy half. Now Tyner, the look will into the hands of Newbegin. Then McQuiston with the dummy. Calling for the interference there is Dewsbury. He's told to go back and play the ball. Is McQuiston. Goes down that short side once more. Bickerdike in at the line now. He's taken down 3-4 metres out. Holgate in there at dummy half. Look to scoot with no markers being in there with Holgate, but the Dewsbury Rams defence is able to cope. It is the 5 and last repeat set minimum you feel needed here. Bickerdike trying to scoot himself over, and he's going to be held up over the line, which means it'll be a turnover ball on the 10. It's not the worst place to turn the ball over there, but I wanted slightly more from that set.
Yeah, they didn't really produce much in that set, did they, in terms of threatening Dewsbury's line? It was quite easy to defend, really. They didn't throw too much at them. It was pretty much down the middle. I think the target in Dewsbury's right end, as you said earlier, Jordan, Tomlinson's not a natural winger. I think they might think that there's some joy down there on that edge, but they didn't really get out to the winger. It just stayed a little bit on the edge on the scrum lines and faded out a little bit. An attack that really should have come to a bit more fruition than it did. It just fizzled out. But at least at the right end of the field, and if you can't get the try, you can't get the ball back on a dropout, you want to turn over on your own terms, and that's what they did.
Rams continue to fetch the ball forward in the middle now, 30 metres away from their own line. Jack McShane's in there at dummy half. Garside will then get it come out to George Senior. There was no one side him, but it's going to be the first penalty of the afternoon that Whitehaven have conceded. I'm just waiting to see what it's coming back for. Hands in at the play the ball, it seems, does referee Denton Arnold, and it means now that the Rams will have an opportunity to kick this deep and use the bit of wind that's behind him. Will Dan Coates, and he's easily got 30 metres on that. I think he's been a bit shortchanged by the touch judge there as well. So it will be Caelan Jordan to take the tackle. Started 30 metres out. Jack McShane takes it, who gets it across then to Harvey Roberts, and Roberts will be taken down 25 metres out. We're just into the 13th minute here at the Flair Stadium. Couple of pairs of hands are looking to go in the early stages. Senior now gets on the hand to Copland, and Copland will try and dive and find the corner, and he's been able to dive under Ethan Bickerdike and Mitchell Todd and put the ball down in this left hand side corner. That was a little bit too easy there from the Dewsbury Rams to get the ball down in this left hand side corner. It is now Dewsbury Rams 4, Whitehaven 6.
And I think that's, again, evidence of the conditions. It's a poor penalty to give away from Whitehaven's point of view. They'd no need, because they were getting towards the back end of the tackle count in that set coming out of backfield, and I thought they'd done pretty well. And then a sloppy penalty, and as you rightly said, Hookham kicked the ball right into Whitehaven's 30, and it was only a matter of time really before they stretched them, because a couple of decent carries from the middle unit players got them on a quick ruck, and then nice hands out here right to left, and a good finish in the corner by Copland there. So yeah, I think Whitehaven are their own worst enemies there. Don't give that silly penalty away, and if it's a different story, they're recovering the ball from backfield rather than defending their own try line.
So Jacob Hookham will be mentioned and the spell at Whitehaven. That'll be 2022 now. He was one of the players who are coming around about that Easter derby on the television, where the likes of Davy Linton and a couple of others, Davy Linton, Harvey Bannon I think might have come in there as well, but Hookham was certainly one of them. Played more of a 9 at Whitehaven, but he's found himself a home at half back here at the Dewsbury Rams. He's half a metre in from the touchline, if that here is Jacob Hookham, right footed, so he's got the right angle on it to curve it in if he wants to try and get the ball over the sticks here for the home side. Ball's fallen off the kicking tee, so gives us time to run through some scores elsewhere. Hunslet 0, Barrow 12 in the Championship, Sheffield 0, Doncaster 6, Widnes 6, York 0. Into the second half, Midlands 10, Girls 6, Swinton 0, Keighley 0, and it's Workington 4, Newcastle 0. Up to the Super League, Salford 0, Hull FC 6. Hookham's replaced the ball down on the kicking tee. Comes at it right-footed. Comes at it now. And he's pinned off the left-hand side post. It didn't sound like the best connection from Jacob Hookham, but it looked like all for money that he was still going to make its way over until it's pinned the left-hand side crossbar. Haven still keep a slight advantage. Rams 4, Haven 6.
Yeah, difficult kick right on the edge, wasn't it? But I think both teams need to settle down. Points have been conceded on the back of errors, and they're doubling up on errors because it's been penalty try for both teams. So I think both coaches will be wanting teams to tidy things up a little bit and certainly get to the back end of a defensive set rather than an attacking set, because as I said, it's been penalty try for both teams, and it's a bit tit for tat. So I think both teams will be looking to tidy up the defensive efforts and stop giving sloppy penalties away.
Certainly will, as the Rams had to pick the ball up from the wind. It was blown backwards 5 or 6 metres from where they weren't expecting it, but were able to get it, and second tackle now they'll play this ball. Looking to go out wide early stages once more. Senior looking to get inside before being taken down. Tyra and Todd are sensing an opportunity on the Haven right hand side defence. The Ramsey's left hand side edge back towards the middle now. A couple of players before finding Deck Tomlinson, and it's going to take 4 of them to push him back, and then it's now a penalty for the ball being stripped. And Whitehaven, despite that start in the last sort of few minutes, are certainly being rattled here by the Rams.
They have, yeah. They get back-to-back penalties away, haven't they? And it's a nice shift from Dewsbury on their right to left. I'm not sure if they've targeted Whitehaven's right side. Possibly we get at Kean Tyra there being a pivot. You want to overwork the pivots on the opposite side just to tire them out a little bit. But I noticed they shifted early, and it's back-to-back penalties. So big reaction here, Nita, from Whitehaven. They can't concede again here on this set.
Couple of pairs of hands goes into the middle now with Harvey Roberts. They're on the 20-metre line here. The Rams. Jack McShane in there at dummy half. Comes left to Deck Tomlinson. Looking for Collinson. Lost by Collinson. Collected by Connor Holliday. We're going to have a zero tackle, or the scrum will have the zero tackle. Holgate will dive in at dummy half. Tom Farron then nearly loses it, but he just finds his front. Plays it on the 20-metre. Kellett has to dive in. One-handed in there at dummy half. And it's a Tomlinson man that's down. It'll be Deck if it's in the middle. Play on at the moment. Mason Lufwit is now the man to fetch this ball forward. I think we are going to have a stoppage. The doctor's looking interested once again. Jordan Thompson now fetching this ball forward. 3-4 metres short of halfway, and we have now eventually got a stoppage. And the doctors, I think the doctor's making sure, can I go on? You can go on when you want. Can the doctor? Then as soon as you enter the game, the referee will stop it. But they were just double checking was the doctor down below us, and won't say too much about it. But he hasn't moved an awful lot there as Deck Tomlinson. But that play from the Rams, just shifting it and just trying to go for it a bit too early when they hadn't had the opportunity, Gary.
Yeah, they tried to play too. It was definitely an head injury, wasn't it? He was down, but I think the doctor was saying if I go on, does he have to come off? Well, he doesn't, as long as he's okay. But if there's any doubt, any question of a head injury, doctors need to get on as quick as possible for the welfare of the player. I think he's all right. He's coming back. Yeah,
he's okay. As Deck Tomlinson, he's got the okay from the physio. Just slows down any momentum Whitehaven had got there, but of course priority and safety. Priority is the safety of players, of course. It'll be Jordan Thompson who plays this bang on pretty much on halfway, just to the right of centre. Holgate will be in there at dummy half, and now find Connor Holliday. Holliday put down onto his back. Holgate calling for something in a dummy half. It hits the 5 and laugh, comes right to Tyra. Tyra gets it up in the air and cross field, and he can't collect it. Keenan Tomlinson. I mean, the wind's picked it up, and when you've found not a natural winger, it's always going to be a difficult kick to collect. So it means Whitehaven have a fresh set of 6 aidings. Now, Ethan Bickerdike on what will be first tackle, and Whitehaven within 10 metres. Holgate in there at dummy half. Wasn't the best play of the ball, but finds Jordan Thompson. Thompson's taken down, and then it's a penalty for a ball steal. It was an inadvertent ball steal more than anything, but it is a penalty for Whitehaven.
Yeah, both teams are looking to try and capitalise on their opposition's errors, aren't they? This time, penalty they're going to go for 2 and put a 4-point gap between the two teams, which I think's pretty sensible at this point. Get what you can, because as I playing against that wind, I think Anthony's decided let's wind the clock down a little bit, take what points we can get, and then reassess. But both teams making lots of error, and again, Tyra kicking to Tomlinson, who's not a natural winger. The wind caught the ball. It was an awful bounce, and he just couldn't grasp it. And there Whitehaven are back in good ball field position and opted to take the penalty. So again, as I said earlier, I think it's just about cutting errors out, because both teams are guilty of giving sloppy penalties away and silly errors. But I think the team that actually gets to grips with that and completes at a high level and gets the discipline right will go on and win this game.
Kieran Tyra tags on the extras. It is now Dewsbury Rams 4, Whitehaven 8, as we're just about to tick over into the 19th minute here at the Flair Stadium. I don't think there's an awful lot of updates in the games elsewhere. No, Swinton have taken the lead at home to Keighley. Workington still just the 4-0 up at home to Newcastle. 18 minutes gone here into the 19th minute. BBC Radio, Cumbria Sport Online. Dewsbury Rams 4, Whitehaven 8, with myself, Jordan Weir, joined by the Rochdale Hornets head coach Gary Thornton this afternoon. Kick-off comes from the boot of courts, and Jack Newbegin yet again lost it. Sun, wind, whatever it may be, and it's going to be a knock on here. Yep. Scrum down, head and feet to the Rams, and they'll have a fresh set of 6 from the scrum 10 metres out.
Yeah, obviously the wind is stronger and the sun's stronger than we can see here in the stand, John, but it certainly had an effect, because 2 kicks downfield have both been put down, one by Bickerdike and then one by Newbegin. So yeah, Dewsbury obviously used the conditions, but they need to do, don't they? They need to make the most of it, because Whitehaven are going to have those conditions in the second half. So be good to see how they go on this attack.
Into the hands now of the fullback Craig McShane. McShane's wrapped up. Who's involved? It's Tom Farron and Kieran Tyner. Copland will dive in at dummy half. Courts comes across then to the loose forward Collinson, being pushed back a metre or two there is Collinson. Great work from Kellett, Thompson and Turnbull. Come into the hands now of Courts, and then into the hands of Senior. Senior will find his front, but there's 3 Whitehaven defenders round him. Connor Holliday will be the last man off as Jack McShane's in there at dummy half. Goes left. Courts. Collinson once more. He's put down onto his back. Kellett on top of him alongside Ellison Allgate. Fresh set of 6. It's a 6 again here for the Rams. Goes right into the hands of Hookham. Sidesteps back inside. Does well to hold on to Jordan Thompson. Turnbull was involved there as well. 5 metres out. Comes left into the hands then of Harvey Roberts. And Roberts is pushed back 3 or 4 metres. Just actually gives Dewsbury a bit more room to work in. McShane comes left into the hands of Courts. Now finds on Garside. There's 4 Whitehaven defenders. Probably make that 5 involved now. Trying to keep Garside up. Pushing back a metre or 2. Jack McShane then finds Dan Courts, and now finds Deck Tomlinson. Gets the arm free. Got that in his game, does Deck Tomlinson. Into the hands now of Hookham. Hookham and then find Caleb Jordan. Jordan's going to try and go for that right hand side corner. He's just taken down. Keenan Tomlinson in there at dummy half. Pass isn't the best. That's what you get when you get a forward playing outside in the backs. Hookham had to dive on it, so lost a bit of momentum there, looking to go down that short side once more, and that's where you want Keenan Tomlinson fetching that ball forward. But Whitehaven's done well there, and it's going to be a handover on the 5th and last. Whitehaven survived essentially back-to-back sets there and have been able to keep the Rams out.
That's a massive win for Whitehaven there. I thought that goal line D was terrific. They got line speed was there. Everybody knew the job. Nobody jumped out of the line to solve a problem that wasn't theirs. They were all together. Really good defensive effort, but then Dewsbury have matched it. Dewsbury have picked up the winger and taken him over his own try line, so they'll get the ball back. Two really good defensive efforts from Whitehaven on their own try line, and then from Dewsbury when they're bringing the ball out of exit, they've really muscled up and put Whitehaven behind their own try line.
How often do you see a winger fetching the ball in off the wing? And don't get me wrong, he's not a small man, he's Max Anderson-Moore, but momentum just took him back over the line there. Fantastic effort from the Dewsbury Rams in defence, and Whitehaven have now going to have to defend essentially a 3rd back-to-back set.
Yeah, the winger needs to go low there. When you're bringing your ball out, when the winger's bringing the ball out from his own try line there, he's got to find floor. He's got to almost dive at players' feet, if you like, just to try and find the ground and find the floor and not be held up like he was there.
Bickerdike scuffed the goal line dropout. He put his hand up in the air and apologised. It's gone less than 20 metres, and Collinson was wrapped up 15 metres out. Jack McShane in there at dummy half will find Harvey Roberts, and Roberts won't get away from Adam Turnbull. Allgate helped him complete the tackle. Comes left into the hands of Hookham, into the hands of Deck Tomlinson. Tomlinson tried to spin left, right, just trying to get his arm free anyway to try and get that ball down on the touchline. He couldn't do, but Harvey Roberts, has he been stopped? He has been stopped. He's knocked on. He's hit the post padding and knocked on. The post padding has come to Whitehaven's favour there. Just short of the line, says referee Declan Arnold, who was in a great position.
Yeah, I think it was the right call, Jordan. I think both teams are trying to bully their way over the line, though, aren't they? I think both Whitehaven and Dewsbury are trying to play that tactic close to the line where they're using their big middles. Tomlinson on one occasion, and then for Roberts, But again, Whitehaven's line held pretty firm, and there's no real. I don't think you see any real place to break down their edge defence. It's straight down the middle of the field, and as long as markers work hard and ABC defenders defend nice and tight, then they'll handle that and they'll cope with it. And these two starting props are coming off now, and I think they've done a great job for Whitehaven in that first 20 minutes.
Yeah, Aaron Turnbull and Jordan Thompson replaced by Brad Brennan and DST. Daniel Spencer Tonks. Ball comes right from the brace of the scrum and finds Tom Farron. Farron, who made his league debut at Midlands last time out. DST looking to be the man to now fetch it forward, put down onto his back. 20 metres out here from their own line. Into the hands now with Brad Brennan once more, and he's met there, Brad Brennan, by Jack McShane. Just hit him hard and low and toppled Brad Brennan there. Into the hands now of McQuiston. McQuiston finds his front, but still short of his own 30 here. Holgate dives in at dummy half, goes left into the hands of Mason Lufwaite, and over that short and 30 and 40 and 3 or 4 metres short of the halfway line, on what is now the 5 and last, into the hands of Newbegin. Newbegin's having to get that ball away into the hands of DST. He gets the kick away, does DST. Not the worst kick in the world for a prop forward, but right down the throat of Liam Copland, and a bit rushed on that occasion, but they've put him down there of Copland, of Tom Farron and Mitch Todd.
Yeah, I think Dewsbury's defence has just intensified a little bit. They've picked things up, and Whitehaven were finding it hard to make metres there coming out of backfield. I think Dewsbury have probably just increased the intensity in their defensive efforts a little bit, but at least Whitehaven got a kick away, and decent effort from Spencer Tonks, but because Newbegin was closed down pretty well by the Dewsbury defence, but they're still not out of their own half, and this is where the pressure is now on Whitehaven's try line.
Jamie Gill, the introduced Jamie Gill, recently introduced, plays the ball, kicking behind. It's going to go dead because Mitchell Todd and Ethan Bickerdike were both looking at each other and going, which one of you is going to deal with it while running towards that ball there, but you haven't had to deal with it. It's gone over the touchline, and it'll be a play of the ball 10 metres out here for Whitehaven as we tick into 25 minutes gone. Still Rams 4, Haven 8.
Yeah, I think the game's just sort of got into a bit of a lull, hasn't it? I think neither side's really imposing themselves. I think Dewsbury have stepped up defensively, certainly, but Whitehaven are matching them as well, and we just noticed that we're looking at this end of the field quite a bit more now, aren't we? Rather than it's Whitehaven coming off their own try line area rather than looking at them attacking Dewsbury's try line. So they need to find a bit of field position, I think, and get back to what they were doing early in the game, completing well up the middle of the field, kicking, and then transitioning into a really good kick chase.
Farron will play this ball on the second tackle into the hands now of Connor Holliday from Holgate in at dummy half, and he's doing well there, Holliday, making an extra metre post contact or two. Holgate goes left into the hands now of Brad Brennan. Brennan shapes the dummy, but you're often not going to get a dummy on a pass from the big man, but he plays it now 5 short of halfway. Kellett will find DST and tries to spin out to the tackle, does DST, but taken down now on the 5 and last, over halfway. Charge down comes in, and even Bickerdike's going to have to get there if he can. It'll be a fresh set of 6 for Whitehaven, and he does, but they've lost 30 metres there to Whitehaven, so they're practically coming out from this own 20 metres again. Great charge down. If not, they haven't got the ball back, however. Yeah,
they're winning the field position and territory battle of Dewsbury at the minute. Garside used all his experience there to put pressure on the kicker, and Whitehaven found themselves coming back out of backfield again.
Newbegin now into the hands of Lufwaite, and Lufwaite steadies your ship, straightens up and runs it forward, plays this ball 10 short of the halfway line. Anderson Moore in there at dummy half, takes the contact as Anderson Moore and brought down pretty much on the centre field mark. Goes left into the hands of Kellett. Kellett does shape the dummy but takes the line on himself before being taken down. Bit more metres gained on this set of 6 for Whitehaven. Holgate will go left into the hands of Newbegin. He'll get the kick away, it just hangs up in the air, comes off the hands of Tyra, so it will be a 0 tackle here, and yet again the wind just picked up. Whitehaven any favours there?
Not at all, no. That ball hung, probably been better kicking it on the ground really, but it hung in the air, and carried back about 5 or 6 metres, didn't it? And the result of that is that Dewsbury are back over Whitehaven's 40 within play 2.
Copland dives in at dummy half as Jack McShane plays the ball. He's got himself up to 28 metres away from the Whitehaven line. McShane once more in there at dummy half. Into the hands now of the Mackenzie Weir, who's been met by Holiday, Brennan, Kellett involved there as well. And want to see a change in 9 out there for Whitehaven, it seems. Luke Collins is being introduced down below us. McShane goes right into the hands of Coates. Couple of pairs of hands once more, finds Caleb Jordan, who had to bend his back and reach for the ball, but he's taken down now. He's the centre on the 5 and last. Comes into the hands of Hookham. Hookham's going to try and make his way over the line. He's the half-back, but he's going to be taken down. But he definitely is Dewsbury winning this territory and possession battle at the moment. And it's going to be Holgate will stay out there. It looks like he'll go to 13. Jack Kellett is going to be replaced by Luke Collins.
Yeah, we say that without sort of winning that field position, but Whitehaven are defending really, really well, to be fair. You know, they're limited in Dewsbury, they're not creating an awful lot, but I think that's because defensively Whitehaven's line, it's intact. Like I said earlier, everybody knows what they're doing, they're all coming up together. And Dewsbury finding it hard to break them down, to be fair. I think fair credit to Muzza's team. I think they're defending really, really well in that third of the field, because Dewsbury are putting some pressure on them, but as it stands they're dealing with it.
Bickerdike will play this ball 25 metres away from his own line. Newbegin back inside to McQuiston, and could have just got him murdered, but he's done well to deal with it there as Rio McQuiston. Collins will go from dummy half, realised there wasn't any markers in there, trying to get his arm free, does, and finds the ball to Newbegin. Newbegin will look what to do and doesn't know exactly what to do, but essentially takes the ball himself, and it is now the 5 and last, just over halfway, centre field. Collins will come right to Tyra, and Tyra will look to get the kick in, and it isn't the best from Kieran Tyra. And even with the wind trying to do him some favours, it's gone out on the full. He's not happy with himself there, is Kieran Tyra, and it'll be a play the ball for the Rams. 5 short of halfway.
Yeah, again struggling just to put any pressure on Dewsbury's try line, aren't they? Yet again, it's like an attack and defence duel, is this? Dewsbury just restarting their sets every time. The last 3 or 4 sets have all been restarted on either halfway line or the 40. So, Whitehaven really struggling to get any field position, any territory. It's all this end of the field. But again, as I said earlier, they're doing a fantastic job of defending. I just hope that doesn't come back and bite them a little bit with all the pressure and the hard work that they're doing defending this end of the field.
Oh, he's done well there, Luke Collins. I thought he'd stripped that ball. He thinks he stripped that ball, and he's had to give it up. He won't be happy with that. Great work on the big man. Goes over now to the right-hand side edge, just past the half-hour mark. Caleb Jordan is going to be taken down. Still a couple of tackles at least left in the bank here for the Rams, as Craig McShane's the man who's gone in at dummy half. Pops it up to Mackenzie here once more, and DST and Brad Brennan. Newbegin all involved, though I'll be honest, I don't think Jack Newbegin's involved all too much, but it's DST and Brennan who's put the shot in there. Comes left into the hands of Hookham on the 5 and last. He's going to have to get it away. Kicks, and it goes dead up, and it is. So this will hopefully give Whitehaven a bit of breathing space that they need, because it'll be a 7 tackle set starting on their own 20.
Yeah, poor attacking options there from Dewsbury. They didn't, again, they're not really testing Whitehaven. There's an opportunity now for Whitehaven to have a go at Dewsbury's try line, because that's a poor penalty coming out of backfield and a bit sloppy. Although Whitehaven are defending really, really well, I've been really disappointed with Dewsbury's attack. They've not really shown too much shape at Whitehaven. It's been pretty comfortable for them. They're shifting wide without any real, everything's lateral. There's no real lead runners or no real shape about it, and Whitehaven are defending it comfortably. I think both teams are just trying to barge their way up the middle of the field, and when they get to the try line, they're just trying to barge over close to the line.
Penalty come for the high tackle on Mitchell. So it's now DST, the man to take it forward following the penalty, and he'll be brought down just short of the Rams 40. Newbegin now goes out the back to Bickerdike. Bickerdike's trying to find a gap there, and brought down 22 metres away from the Rams line now. In the hands of Newbegin once more, and finds Ellison Holgate, who's now moved into that loose forward berth. 15 metres out here, and will continue pumping his legs, will the former Waff-Brow man. Into the hands of DST once more now, and he'll try his sidestep and then gets the ball away. Probably wasn't the best pass, but it finds Bickerdike anyways across the floor, but Whitehaven lost a bit of momentum and lost a bit of yardage. 18 metres out here now. Whitehaven. Collins in there at dummy half, into the hands then of Brad Brennan in the middle, trying to spin out to the tackle. Does Brennan, taken down, 5 and last, 5 metres out, in line with the right hand side post. Collins scores left, Tyra, Newbegin, then finds Lewthwaite. Lewthwaite will then find Anderson Murray in that corner. He's trying to get the ball down, going to be judged in touch. Not the worst end of play set for Whitehaven. They went for it, and when you can turn the ball over on the Dewsbury 10, they won't be too disappointed with that.
No, as I said earlier, if you don't get the try and you don't get the ball back on a drop out, the next best thing is to finish on your own terms, and that's what they did. I like what New Beginnings' involvement in this game. He's starting to take control there on that left-hand side edge and creating a few things for Whitehaven down that left side. I think we'd already mentioned that they targeted probably Dewsbury's right edge with a back row forward out on the wing there. So he's taking control. He's New Beginning. He's starting to run the game for Whitehaven.
And a back row forward who you think might be better fetching that ball out from. Has lost it then, and then he's changed his mind. He's had a shout as Denton Arnold and says it's been stripped. So rather than it being a scrum down, head and feet to Haven, it's a penalty to the Rams.
He's had a bit of a nightmare as Tomlinson out on that wing so far. I think he's come up with a couple of errors, misjudged a kick and fumbled a couple, and I thought he'd erred there actually, but you're right, he's turned it over, so it must have been a strip in the tackle.
I'm surprised I haven't put someone like Caelan Jordan out on the wing and even put Tomlinson in the centre, and while it's only that one position in, it makes a massive difference both attack and defence.
It does, it makes a huge decision, although I think Keane has played wing in his time, but he's not a natural winger. I don't think he's always been there as an emergency stopgap type thing, and I think you're right. I think maybe need to look at that, especially with the wind. If Whitehaven start kicking early in the second half and utilising the wind, then Dewsbury might have to change that option up.
They'll play the ball with the Rams. Will Jamie Gill into the hands of Dan Coates, I think it is, who's just going to be taken down. Copland's at the dive in at dummy half, and they're on the Haven 30 now are the Rams. Just under 6 minutes to the half-time hooter as we make it into the hands now of Matt Garside taken down. It's the 5 and last, 15 metres out, comes towards the middle with Coates, and Coates puts a little kick in behind. Biggerdike didn't come off the hands of Biggerdike. I thought it had initially. It's too deep, and it'll be another 7 tackle set here on the top 20. He gets an opportunity to take a quick tap, does Max Anderson Moore, and does well, makes 15-16 metres, and Whitehaven will play these just short of their own 40, and Biggerdike on the second tackle will take Whitehaven up to halfway. Great work there from Whitehaven.
Fantastic, again, good defence, but poor from Dewsbury, wasn't it? They didn't really throw much shape and much options there, but this is when Whitehaven are at the best. They're just going straight up the middle of the field on Dewsbury and picking up. Dec Tomlinson's been out there for a full half, and he's tiring a little bit. Mackenzie Ayres come on and hasn't really made an impact, so good tactics from Whitehaven. Get down the middle channel, get a good kick away, then transition. So and there's New Begin again, just pulling the strings.
His kick's been charged down, and he's judged to have been a knock on Joe Summers. I don't think would have fancied going the 70 metres with a big back rower, but he's been judged to have lost the ball when it's been knocked on when sort of charging it down, and it'd be a scrum down head and feet to Haven, and they'll have an opportunity of scrum starting 20 metres out.
Tell you what, if they can get a score here, it'll be interesting just before half time, because they've not had the conditions in their favour, but they've certainly had the better of the half, in my opinion, in terms of what they've done with the ball. Dewsbury, yes, they've had loads of field position, loads of territory down here, and attacked Whitehaven's line, but I don't think they've been very productive with it. In fact, Whitehaven's defence has been very, very good and very, very organised, but they haven't really tested it, in my opinion.
Ball held at the base of the scrum before coming right to Tyra. Tyra has to take the line on. Put down 11 metres out is the halfback. Collins in there at dummy half. Goes towards the middle now with Brad Brennan. And Brennan continues to keep his legs pumping. Taken down. 2 metres out into the hands of Conor Holliday. Can Holliday spin and twist and turn out to the tackle? Is he just going to be held up? He's held up short. Is Conor Holliday. He's being pushed back there. Collins passes it up for Brad Brennan once more. Has he got the ball down? Is he going to be he's held down just short as well. It's a player that they've utilised. He's got that in his game as Brad Brennan, but Dewsbury able to stop the big man there, and they'll have another couple of tackles.
He's an handful close to the line. He's Brad, that's his speciality, isn't it? Close to the line, just barge over, and he's a big man to stop.
We've seen the Rams trying to do it in the early in the half with Dec Tomlinson,
as I said earlier, both teams are going for that tactic close to the line, is to try to use the big men to go over and catch a lazy marker or a lazy air defender.
Just over 3 minutes left in this first half here at the Flair Stadium. Goes left now into the hands of Holgate, finds Newbegin, pops it back up for the Mason Lewthwaite running down the inside. It is the 5 and last, 5 metres out to Whitehaven. Collins in there at dummy half, comes right into hands of Tyra. Tyra with the dummy, can he get the ball down? He can't get Kieran Tyra with the show and go. Fantastic work from Kieran Tyra on his return to the team, and Whitehaven got them 4 points they would have wanted just before the half-time break, and with an opportunity to extend this lead to a 10-point advantage. It's currently Dewsbury Rams 4, Whitehaven 12.
Fair play to Kieran there, taking the line on, but it's shocking Dewsbury defence again. Really is. It's they are the worst enemies at the minute. But you've got to say fair play to Whitehaven. Again, come back off a mistake from a Dewsbury, a knock on, a nice little kick in from Newbegin, puts a nice kick in, and Summers fumbled it, and then they've scored on the next set. But intelligent play from the half, show and go. So a retreating Dewsbury line rather than the line that was coming forward to defend the threat, and he's gone straight through the gap and scored. And as I said, he kicks this. It's 14-4 half time with the conditions in their favour second half. Everything's going Whitehaven's way at the minute. Everything.
He's going Whitehaven's way at the moment. Of course, I mentioned it in the build-up, didn't I? This was the scene of that famous victory last season where Whitehaven come down with just 14 players on that afternoon, of course, after that most turbulent week up in West Cumbria. And they're now 10 points to the good here, and they took a half-time advantage then, and they're going to take a half-time advantage here this afternoon at the Flair Stadium. BBC Radio Cumbria Sports Online. It is now Dewsbury Rams 4, Whitehaven 14. Tyra adds the extras. He's 3 from 3 so far with the boot this afternoon. Is Kieran Tyra. And we'll see if there's any scores from elsewhere in the Super League. Salford 6, Hull FC 14, Hunslet 0, Barrow 16, Sheffield 6, Doncaster 14, Widnes 18, York 12. It's currently Midlands 12, Gould 13. Kick-off is underway. Swinton 10, Keighley 6, Working 2, Newcastle new. Newbagging collects the kick-off and finds then DST. There could be a shock down in Birmingham this afternoon. There won't be too much long left in that one. DST slowly plays the ball. Collins in there at dummy half, and now finds Max Anderson-Moore. Finds his front, does the winger, 22-23 metres away from his own line. Collins in there at dummy half, comes right into the hands of Brad Brennan. Brennan taken down 32-33 metres away from his own line. Goes left into the hands of Holgate. Holgate then gets it across to McQuiston. Yeah, it was, but just got away with it there to Whitehaven. McQuiston done well to keep hold of it, just short of halfway. To fresh set of 6 for Whitehaven, to 6 again. Don't think anyone's told them. It's into the hands of DST now. DST finds his front. Collins will scoot from dummy half into the hands then of McQuiston once more. The Roland Dewsbury here to Whitehaven, and then that's been stripped legally, says the referee. I think he's made a couple of howlers there. He's missed the forward pass. He's then given 6 again, and they maybe thought he shouldn't have given the 6 again, and that's why he hasn't given the penalty there. Kick-off just holding up in the wind, and it's Max Anderson-Moore, the man to fetch it forward, and he's going to be brought down just short of his own 20. Newbegin in there at dummy half, and it'll be DST. The man looking to fetch it forward. He's brought down a bit easily there, was DST. Put down onto his back, only found 3 or 4 metres there. Collins in there at dummy half, and Newbegin now will find Brad Brennan. And the Dewsbury defence trying to get on top and trying to slow the momentum Whitehaven picked up in the final minutes of the first half. Goes right into the hands now at Tyra, finds Connor Holiday, and Holiday trying to spin out to the tackle, but he's been brought down as the Whitehaven captain. 15 short of halfway here as Collins in there at dummy half. Bickerdike has to have a second attempt at it before collecting the ball, but does so, but he's going to be pushed back 2-3 metres there. In at full back this afternoon, Ethan Bickerdike on the 5 and last now, 42 metres away from their own line, into the hands of Newbegin, and Newbegin gets the kick away and trying to utilise this wind in the second half, and Keenan Tomlinson collects on the full, met there by McQuiston, DST and Mason Lewthwaite, and he's going to be pulled back. A metre or two there is Tomlinson, and DST goes on top of him.
Yeah, good defensive set from Dewsbury there. I think they limited Whitehaven to about 40, but luckily the win behind the kick for Newbegin got him some distance, and Tomlinson took it well. But I think Paul March will have given Dewsbury a bit of a roasting in those sheds at half time, because it wasn't really a decent half of football from their point of view. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to that, and it'll be interesting to see also how Whitehaven cope with it. But from Muzza's point of view, all he needs to do is complete well, kick well, and chase.
Caelan Jordan nearly through on this right hand side, gets it, looked it back inside to Hookham, who can't collect. Collins will collect on the loose ball, and we're going to have a 0 tackle. The defence parted like the Red Sea there for Caelan Jordan, and Samoa trying to see what the winger was doing. Tomlinson but able to take advantage, but Whitehaven do have the ball back as Anderson Moore plays the ball. Goes right into the hands now of Tom Farron, and Farron in its centre this afternoon, still deputising for Chris Taylor, who since last time we were on air became a dad, so congratulations if you're listening in this afternoon, Chris. Mitchell Todd now the man who to take his forward, finds his front just short of halfway. Collins will find Holgate out the back, then to Newbegin, he'll find McQuiston. That Millen connection keeps combining out there. Plays the ball. DST now will be the man to fetch it forward and gets past Jacob Hookham, gets past another one, pushes him off, and Hookham's able to get re-involved and fetch him down. He's 31 metres out on what is the 5 and last now. Collins in there at dummy half, goes right into hands of Tyra. Tyra puts the kick up. There's not going to be too many there in chocolate blue and gold chasing. He's able to collect is Liam Copland just in the field of play when taking that ball, and he's going to be pushed back 3-4 metres there. Collins, McQuiston, Lufwade and Newbegin all involved, but there's then going to be no markers as they're all left on the floor, so it's an easy 7, 8, 9, 10 metres made there from Caelan Jordan after all that hard work. And he's struggling now there, he's Jack Newbegin and Caelan Tomlinson. Should be and will be a penalty for being offside. Well, essentially not square because he never got up, but I mean, they're making out like he put his foot out and tripped him, Gary. I mean, he's entitled to tackle him, just not from that position.
He just went down on the floor and then stuck his arm out and got hold of him. I don't know what was wrong with it, to be honest with you. But he's penalised him anyway. But I don't think he was offside. I think he was just on the floor when the play of the ball was carried out, and then decided to grab the winger by the leg.
We'll move on. Caelan Jordan takes the tap, finds Jack McShane into the hands of Mackenzie Yee, and he'll be looking to try and put a bit more into his go forward than what he showed in the first half when he come on from the bench, did the Oldham loanee. McShane in there at dummy half, goes left and finds Hookham into the hands now of Coates, into the hands of Jack McShane. Craig McShane is at the back, yeah, it's Craig McShane actually, into the hands of George Senior, who's trying to get back inside, gets the offload away, and Dan Coates is eventually taken down. He's Coates. We'll play the ball now. Craig McShane in there at dummy half, finds Matt Garside, and Garside will straighten up and take it on, and it's Brad Brennan and Luke Collins combination of the duo that will fetch him down into the hands now with Jamie Gill, finds Hookham chirps and throws the dummy, but he's going to be wrapped up. So a couple of tackles left in the bank here for this Dewsbury side, 3 or 4 metres out. Jack McShane dives in at dummy half, and he's going to be taken down. It's a 5 and last now. They're only 2 metres out. Hookham, is he going to try and... Oh, that's poor from Whitehaven. So poor from Whitehaven. The fallen hook, line and sinker from the dummy from Jacob Hookham. And the former Whitehaven loanees being able to dive over and reduce this deficit here at the Flair Stadium as it is for the home side. It's now Dewsbury Rams 8, Whitehaven 14.
From a coaching point of view, they're horrendous tries to give away. Straight from dummy half, 2 metres from the line, just puts the ball down. Really poor work from Whitehaven's markers and their air defenders. They were looking for the shift and they all fell for it, and he just plopped the ball down unopposed. There has been a bit of a shift from Dewsbury. You can see that they're definitely a lot more enthusiastic defensively, and when they're shifting, although it's still very lateral and easy to defend, they are throwing a little bit more at Whitehaven. They're asking a few more questions of the Whitehaven defence, and it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the half pans out, because there has definitely been a shift in Dewsbury's attitude and the way that they're going about the business, certainly defensively, and then when they've got the ball.
Jacob Hookham, we mentioned obviously quite a few times, he's had that spell at Whitehaven. He was away for a few weeks, and then he returned for that summer bash fixture at Headingley, didn't he? And when Whitehaven was short of bodies on that afternoon, when Whitehaven got the victory at Headingley, but being at the Rams I think pretty much ever since as Jacob Hookham. He was definitely with them last season when from the Championship, and ball's falling down off the kicking tee. Just shows you how windy it is. We're still waiting for this threatened rain to arrive. These clouds overhead are getting greyer and greyer, but it remains dry at the moment, and that will definitely throw another factor into the game as well, as Hookham is able to tag on the extras, so it is now just a 4-point deficit for the Rams. Hookham gets his first of the afternoon. It's Dewsbury Rams 10, Whitehaven 14.
Yeah, and interesting. I'm just looking at the Dewsbury bench. I've noticed that, we've talked about Paul Sykes and they've got Toby Everett, and they're not being used yet. They've only made a couple of changes, I think. So Paul March has been very conservative with his changes. But I think from a Whitehaven point of view now, they just need to wrestle back field position and territory. I think, sensible kick there, trying to find touch, and I think he has done as well.
Fantastic kick from Ethan Bickerdike.
Very, very sensible play there, and it just takes the pressure off Whitehaven a little bit now and puts it back on Dewsbury, and they're going to have a go. They're going to have a crack at Dewsbury's line again.
Fantastic kick from Ethan Bickerdike along the floor, and what is to a relatively thick grass surface here at the Flair Stadium, and of course, like the rest of the country, haven't had a lot of rain, so maybe he's a bit hard there on top. He's been able to get the bounce, and he's found touch despite the best efforts of Dan Coates, and it means now with Ellison Holgate fetching this ball forward as Whitehaven start on the Dewsbury 20. He's taken down sort of 15 metres out just to the left hand side of the post. Collins goes from dummy half before finding Jack Newbegin, escapes the clutches of Mackenzie Yee. I would want to do that as well, but he's now taken down 11 metres out in line with the right hand side post. Collins goes right down that short side into the hands of Tyler. Tyler looks to take the line on himself, does the half back, and he's put down onto his back. In line with the right hand side post. Collins not able to keep a hold of it there, and it's Deck Tomlinson now, man, looking to fetch it forward. He's trying to get his arm free, but he's going to be pulled down 20 metres out and have an opportunity to try and continue this momentum shift in their favour, as it's now Joe Summers the man to forward, and he's lost that ball there to Summers. It's gone backwards, and then Caelan Jordan has thrown the ball down. That technically should be a penalty for the Whitehaven, although it's neither here nor there, but it's going to be a scrum down head and feet to Whitehaven, and the reaction of Caelan Jordan tells you all you need to know about that, Gary Thornton.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think he's got a case, because I think the ball was stripped, but I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
He has got a case, but the touch was right on it. He had got a great view of it, and you can't argue with the decision when the decision's given. Whether it's for you or against you, you've got to accept it. And to be honest, I would have given a penalty there, because that was a poor reaction from the centre, from the Dewsbury centre. But it gives Whitehaven that on his man. And it's error for error now. He's done him on a forward pass there. That's sloppy. That is very, very sloppy.
Kieran Tydick can put his hands up in the air all he wants. I mean, we could tell from here it was
a mile forward.
It was a mile forward. Just after that decision, where there's maybe a little bit of doubt in the referee's mind, as I've given the right decision here. I know I've got an opportunity to level it up. I'm not saying he has done that, but Kieran Tydick given the perfect opportunity to do it.
Yeah, it's a poor passage of play from both teams, isn't it, really?
It's now Keenan Tomlinson looking to fetch his side forward. So after all that, we're back pretty much where we were anyways, as Jack McShane now finds the recently introduced Toby Everett. I think he's been out for a few weeks for this Rams side with an injury, and has returned now this afternoon. McShane then finds Jamie Gill, and Gill finds his front. Brennan, Holgate and DST all involved in that tackle. Goes left into the hands of Coates, pops back up into the hands of Garside, and Garside will be taken down 25 metres out here are the Rams as we tick over into the 50th minute. Into the hands now of Deck Tomlinson. Will find Everett. They've got some more big units out there now, with Tomlinson still out there, and Everett and Jamie Gill, the 5 and last, 18 metres out. Max Shane goes left into the hands of Coates. Coates looks to put a kick in behind. It's going to have to be dealt with, and then Mitchell Todd's taken high from Matt Garside, and any pressure that they were looking to put on with the Rams has been instantly relieved from that high tackle on Mitchell Todd.
Crazy, man, crazy that, it ruled them pretty easily. Dewsbury Rams there went straight with the middle of the field, didn't they? They did to Whitehaven what Whitehaven were doing to them in the first half, and then it was a nice little kick in there, and then Garside's gone and lost his head, high tackle, and the pressure's off, and now Whitehaven have been able to kick downfield, and they've got the ball in some decent field position.
You expect better from an experienced man like Matt Garside.
Absolutely would, yeah. The coach killers, that kind of thing, you don't coach that kind of, you don't expect it from experienced players, so he's definitely let his side down there.
Holiday's made 10 metres following the penalty, so plays it first tackle 10 short of halfway. Into the hands now of Mason Loothwaite. Got him on the run there of Mason Loothwaite. Jamie Gill and Joe Summers involved in that tackle, more laterally more than anything else, so not too many metres lost, and DST done well to escape the clutches of the Dewsbury prop forwards there. Collins now finds Ellison Holgate, finds Tyra. Tyra finds Biggerdike, and Biggerdike's trying to escape the clutches of his opposite number, the number 4, George Senior. But he's taken down. Holgate dives in at dummy half. Then running it laterally here is Holgate. Will find Rio McQuiston, and should be a penalty for Whitehaven surely, but referee Declan Arnold not interested in that one at all. Comes left now into the hands of Newbegin. Looks to get the kick in behind on the chase, and it's going to be McShane who dives into Keenan Tomlinson, so couldn't get any momentum of trying to clear that ball, and he's been nilled and metered away from his own line there as Craig McShane.
Yeah, done well the full back there. It was a tricky little kick, and Tomlinson, the winger, wasn't really interested in it, was he? So McShane had to take charge, and he did. He went up and claimed the ball really, really well. Dewsbury ringing the ball, doing it tough off their own try line now, because again, intensity from Whitehaven's just stepped up a little bit defensively as well.
Hookham in at dummy half will then find Senior, and Senior is taken down. Hookham in there at dummy half now will find Toby Everett, and Everett trying to get his arm free, but there's plenty there in the chocolate blue and gold. The Whitehaven able to fetch him down 38 metres away from his own line on the 5 and last. Hookham will get the kick in. It should be an easy one for Mitchell Todd to collect, and it is. He collects 25 metres away from his own line, and with that shortened 30 and 40 on what should have been another penalty on Mitchell Todd for the high tackle, Whitehaven will start this set 8 metres out, and the starting props return to the field. Jordan Thompson, Adam Turnbull replace DST and Brad Brennan. Bickerdike plays the ball now over into the Dewsbury half as Tom Fannin looking to fetch his ball forward, and he's 35 metres out now. Fannin as he'll play this ball. Collins lining weight at dummy half towards the middle now with Holgate. He'll then find Turnbull. That was forward, but then he's picked up and dumped. He's Adam Turnbull, all legally there as well. 28 metres out into the hands of Newbegin. Newbegin shapes to throw the dummy, escapes from one tackle. Can he escape the clutches of another? He can't, but gets the ball away. Now finds Ellison Holgate. Holgate's nearly through. It is the 5 and last. Comes left. Ball isn't the best from Luke Collins, and McQuiston passes it up and finds Anderson Moore. Trying to get it, throws it away into the hands of Bickerdike, and Whitehaven will do better. Gets the ball back inside into the hands of Mason Lufwit. It is still the 5 and last. Lufwit trying to get back inside, and then it's going to be a turnover ball. A crazy passage of play, but essentially Whitehaven lose 10 metres, don't get a kick in, and Dewsbury going to start these 22 metres out.
Yeah, crazy that one. Nobody really wanted to take charge, did they? But fair play to Whitehaven trying to keep the ball alive and create something, but as you rightly say, instead of just dinking it into a corner and finishing on your own terms, they've ended up losing metres, and Dewsbury are going to start 25 metres away from their own try line. And Joe Summers has gone down again. I think it's about third time he's gone down, Joe. I don't know what's going on there, but I know he's been out for quite a while with an injury, but he seems to be hitting the deck quite frequently. But yeah, it's just got into a bit of a set for set game, hasn't it? You know, neither team's really taking charge at the moment. They're just both doing the jobs and getting the sets out, but nobody's really on top in this second half. I think they both up their intensity a little bit, and it's an interesting second half. It's going to be interesting to see how this pans out for the rest of the game.
Game's back underway now as Keenan Tomlinson in off the wing to take this side forward in his natural position, more in the middle of the field. There is Tomlinson. He'll play this ball 30 metres away from his own line. Copland dives in at dummy half, and he'll get over the 40 in that short and 30-40 area and play the ball once more. Jack McShane gets it in towards the middle with George Senior. Senior does get the offload away into the hands of Jack McShane, and it's Copland once more. We'll take the Rams over halfway. 5 metres or so over that halfway line. In towards the middle now with Deck Tomlinson. And Tomlinson takes only 2 of them to fetch him down. Holgate will help him come in and complete that tackle. Turnbull and Jordan Thompson come right into the hands now of Gill. Finds Hookham. Hookham runs it across the line, then comes out the back to Craig McShane. There's a gap there and looks to step back inside. Craig McShane, and he's taken down. Is Craig McShane. 5 and last, but they're only 3 or 4 metres actually out now. The Rams. Hookham looks to go right into the hands of Keenan Tomlinson. He looks to get it back inside, and it's been ruled in touch before throwing the ball back inside. So it will be a turnover ball, and it should be on the 10 metre line if he's been judged in touch. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah, left edge D side of Whitehaven did really well there. Anderson Moore, and I think it was Lathwaite as well, I think, in there. Did really well to keep the winger out, Tomlinson, because they'd gone short side. Hookham had seen a gap on that left edge, and they'd dealt effort from Whitehaven on their own try line.
Ellis Nixon being introduced quite hurriedly as Ellison Holgate has has been withdrawn from the field.
He's had a good game, him, Jordan. Been very good.
As Jordan Thompson's now the man to fetch his ball forward. He's taken down 20 metres out. Collins still out there in a dummy half into the hands now of Aaron Turnbull, and hits from left and right from Turnbull before hitting the floor. Slow to get up and play the ball, holds the back of his neck, does Aaron Turnbull. Seems okay to continue. Jordan Thompson now taken down just over that 40 metre line. Goes right into the hands then of Tyra. Tyra pops it up to Connor Holiday, and that wasn't the best from Kieran Tyra. Just sort of put Holiday in where there was a heavy traffic area. It's 5 and last now. Tyra then puts the kick in on this occasion, just trying to find touch, and that's better from Kieran Tyra. A bit of game management on that occasion, just slows the game down, allows your side to get set, and it'll be 12 metres out to the Dewsbury Rams and off to fetch this ball away from their own line.
Yeah, and it puts your team in the right area of the field, doesn't it? The right place. This is where Whitehaven want to be. You know, they're defending a 4-point lead at the minute, and if they can keep Dewsbury away from their try line, they're going to win the game. And that's it's great game management from Kieran. It's a good kick into the corner. They now need to transition and back it up with a really good defensive effort.
The Rams looking to take this ball forward. It's Keenan Tomlinson on that first tackle, plays the ball, comes out into the hands of George Senior. They're trying to get him towards the touchline there, he's Senior, but he's able to find his back. He's not happy with something there. He's Mason Luffy. It was actually Caelan Jordan. Jack McShane then finds Keenan Tomlinson once more, getting through a bit more work in the second half here. He's Jordan. Aaron Turnbull struggling out there. Jack McShane into the hands then of Senior on this occasion, and Whitehaven won't want to lose Aaron Turnbull. He's only just gone back onto the field. Goes left into the hands of Toby Everett over the half here, and we've got a stoppage because the doctor's entered the field to come and have a look at Aaron Turnbull.
Yeah, he didn't look happy, John. He was shaking his head there, and I think he's taking a head knock.
Well, we got one initially, didn't we, where he was just holding the back of his neck, yes. And then he's maybe just taken another knock quite so soon after there. It's had more of an impact than it was usually have, let's say.
I think he might be leaving the field here.
Yeah, and I think Whitehaven will take advantage of the HIA. He's not looking well at all. He's Aaron Turnbull. If he does fail it, as long as he can pass the necessary tests afterwards, of course, Whitehaven haven't got a game next week, so he wouldn't miss any fixtures on his return to the team. Will Aaron Turnbull, but that's all ifs, buts and maybes. Jack Kellett has gone out to replace him, but however, if he can't return, that does leave Whitehaven with only one interchange with 22.5 minutes left. So that could be something to keep an eye on there as well. And Dewsbury still have plenty in the bank in terms of interchanges to use this afternoon. Back underway. Deck Tomlinson fetches the ball forward. Hookham now finds Craig McShane. McShane steps back inside, gets away from one and a second, tries to get away from a third, but that 1 and 2, which was Kellett and McQuiston, able to complete the tackle. Hookham running the ball laterally now, then finding Jamie Gill. Call for the high shot on Jamie Gill potentially there from Connor Holiday, but referee Denton Arnold waves it away. It is the 5 and last. One more tackle for Whitehaven to survive. Courts gets it across then to George Senior, and yet again not offering too much. Gary, as we've said quite a few times this afternoon in the Whitehaven red zone, and it's just a turnover ball. Yeah,
again disappointing. Both halves haven't really, for Dewsbury, haven't really created an awful lot, I don't feel. It's been, I'm not going to say easy to defend, but it's been predictable to defend for Whitehaven. All Whitehaven have had to do is just keep their men defending their own space, and that's all they've done. They've not had to make decisions or jump out the line to solve a problem or anything. It's been pretty predictable and pretty straightforward. And that said, they've done it pretty well.
Mason Luthwaite fetching the ball forward here for Whitehaven, trying to get as many post-contact metres as he can, and he's done well there as the former Kells man. Collins in there, a dummy half. Newbegging now, then finds McQuiston. After the dummy, he's taken down his McQuiston, 7 metres short of halfway, and it's now Ethan Bickerdike will take Whitehaven over halfway here. 5 and last. 5 over this halfway line. Collins in there at dummy half, comes down the short side with Jack Newbegging, and Newbegging will put the kick up in the air. Craig McShane is back there, and Kellett's there straight away, but he gets away from Kellett. He isn't going to get away, however, from Ellis Nixon and Jordan Thompson, and McShane will play this 12 metres out.
Yeah, a decent kick and a decent set from Whitehaven, just do that. That's the only job they need to do. Coming off their own try line, just make as many metres as they can, put a good kick in, and then transition and defend well. They don't have to win this game twice. They're in front. They just need to complete a high level and make sure when they defend well.
We are in front at the moment of Whitehaven. Dewsbury 10, Whitehaven 14. Just a few seconds short of the hour mark here at the Flair Stadium as we're about to enter the final quarter. Knock on from the Rams. Dec Tomlinson looks to get the offload away, and Jack McShane, I think, couldn't take it cleanly off the bounce, and Jacob Hookham not happy with what he's seeing out there, and it's going to be a scrum down, head and feet to Whitehaven, and giving them an opportunity to start not fetching the ball out from their own red zone, but giving it start and hopefully get a bit of momentum forward here.
Yeah, it gives you a bit of a breather, doesn't it? It's mentally taxing, and it's mentally draining when you're defending your own try line set after set after set. And you do worry that if you're doing it consistently, that you're gonna concede at some point. So to be able to start a set on the halfway line will give them a bit of a respite from defending their own try line and hopefully come up with something of their own in the attacking zone.
Oh, he's lost the ball on contact there as Mason Lufwaite, so all what we've just said means absolutely nothing as Keenan Tomlinson's now trying to break down this right hand side, and he's taken down by Ethan Bickerdike, so they're within 25 metres here. The Rams into the hands now with Craig McShane, their own worst enemies at times in the second half of Whitehaven. Jamie Gill will be the man to play this ball, 18 metres out, goes left into the hands of Hookham, then into the hands of Dec Tomlinson, trying to put him down, and they do eventually, the Whitehaven, but it's taken 4 defenders to do so. 8 metres out, back towards the middle of the field now with Toby Everett, then finds Hookham. Hookham has to take a second attempt at catching that ball before getting it out, and then could be Tomlinson in this right hand side corner. He looks to step back inside. I think a natural winger would have gone for the corner, but of course the back rower felt more comfortable stepping inside. If he'd gone to the corner, he'd have probably scored. Plays the ball, Hookham into the hands now with Jack McShane, finds Toby Everett, Ellis Nixon, Kellett, Jordan Thompson in there, 5 and last, 1 more to survive. Goes left into the hands of Courts, into the hands of Senior, it's George Senior.
That's fantastic.
Puts the ball held up. Defense. Fantastic work from Whitehaven. And Alison Holgate's being put back out there, so this will be Whitehaven's 7th interchange. If Adam Turnbull can't return, it will be the final interchange.
Yeah. And again, I thought Whitehaven just absolutely superb yet again on their own try line. I know Dewsbury haven't been great with their attack, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And Whitehaven, to a man, have just stuck to their own job, and that's all you can ask of a goal line D, is everybody do their own job, and that's what they've done, and they've done it superbly well. They really have, and I think that's the reason why they're still in front, because their goal line D has been so good.
We've got a stoppage in players. Is it Dec Tomlinson that's being helped from the field? So we'll run through some scores from elsewhere. Salford 6, Hull FC 26, Hunslet 0, Barrow 32, Sheffield 6, Doncaster 20, Widnes 18, York 22. Full time in the 2 o'clock kickoff, Midlands 12, Gull 13, Swinton 20, Keighley 6. Still not at half time, I believe, in that one. There was a medical emergency in the ground, and it doesn't look like that game has got back underway as of yet. Well into the second half at Derwent Park, it's Workington 38, Newcastle 0. Just waiting for the game to get back underway here as Connor Holliday plays the ball into the hands now of Mitchell Todd. Todd will be put down onto his back, 15 metres out from his own line. Holgate back out there in a dummy half. Tom Farren can't keep hold of the ball, and Whitehaven are really their own worst enemy so far in this second half. Anytime they've had an opportunity, Gary Thornton, to attempt to clear their lines, they've fluffed it.
I think that's the last 2 sets they've had the ball when they've turned it over from a scrum or a first
or second tackle, yeah.
And you're just inviting teams onto your line, and as poor as Dewsbury's attack's been, you can't keep asking them, inviting them to attack your try line, because fatigue is going to set in, and you could concede, but you want to be playing at the other end of the field. And again, as you rightly said, Jordan, they're their own worst enemies at the minute at Whitehaven.
Coming down to Craig McShane. McShane looking to step up the line. The fullback Craig McShane wrapped up 5 metres out. How long can Whitehaven survive this? How long can they survive putting the pressure back on themselves? Jamie Gill's going to be the man to play this ball here, just to the right hand side of the post. Will go left in just a little short pass to Toby Everett. Everett centre field now. He's 1.5 metres maximum out. Pops it into Jamie Gill. Jamie Gill's going to try and spin and twist and turn to get that ball down, but it's going to be great defence from Whitehaven. They've held him up over the line, so they'll go back and have a bit more space to work in. Will the Rams? Swinton and Keighley have just got back underway, and it's now Workington 15, Newcastle 0. Comes right into the hands of Toby Everett. Hookham finds Caleb Jordan. Trying to evade the defence there was Jordan. Tomlinson will dive in at dummy half. Go left into the hands of Jacob Hookham. He'll run in across the line. Now finds Dan Coates. Now finds Craig McShane. Finds Senior. Senior looks to put the kick in behind. I feel that's harsh. He says it's been played at by
call.
Tom Farron, so they get another set of 6 here. Do the Rams. Ball hits the floor into the hands now of the recently reintroduced Louis Collinson. 12 metres out, centre field. Comes right into the hands of Jacob Hookham. Comes in across, couple of pairs of hands to Caleb Jordan. Scores a level here at the Flair Stadium with a little dummy show and go from Caleb Jordan in this right hand side. And it is now Dewsbury Rams 14, Whitehaven 14, kick to come with around about 15 and a half to go here in West Yorkshire.
And Whitehaven have just invited Dewsbury onto their own line, haven't they? 2 errors from play 1 from a scrum, and then again this time it was in the 20 metre area of Whitehaven's defensive area, and you can't keep inviting teams onto you like that, and eventually that pressure's told, and they have come away with some points there. Again, it wasn't great attack, it was just a straight ball out to the centre, and too big a gap on that left edge, and how they'd worked really hard previously to put Tomlinson into touch. This time there was a big gap there, and I think it was between winger and centre, and Caleb Jordan's just gone straight through it, and as I said, they just invited Dewsbury into their half of the field, into their third of the field, and pressure's told, and they've come up with points.
Jacob Hookham will have an opportunity from the touchline. We make it 14 and a half to go, not official, but we'll try and keep an eye. Scoreboard doesn't normally have a clock on. They haven't got it.
Yeah, it does. I was looking at it. Yeah, it's not there, mate. I was looking for that as well.
But Hookham will come on it right-footed. Not the best, his best side of the field. He'll have wanted to be on the opposite side of the field for what would have been the best angle to try and curl it in, but he hit the post from what would have been his favourite side of the field earlier on. He's a couple of metres further in from what he was when he was just down in our position here. But we've got another stoppage, so with exactly 14 to go as we make it. I think the ball's fallen down over the kicking tee again, and it looks like we might escape this rain at the moment. It seems to be brightening up out there. So Hookham will come at it, right-footed, takes his time, goes through his routine once more. Starts to take them steps forward in 3, 2, and 1. It's taking a little bit longer than usual as Jacob Hookham. Steps come forward now. Comes at it right-footed. Jacob Hookham. I don't have to tell you, the Dewsbury Rams fans in front of me will do, and that's the first time this afternoon they've taken the lead. Have the Dewsbury Rams. Hookham from the touchline means it's Dewsbury Rams 16, Whitehaven 14, and after being 12 points up at half time, Whitehaven have to win this game once more.
Yeah, we talked earlier about not having to win it twice. Well, they do now, because they've shot themselves in the foot by 2 soft knock-ons from play 1, which have given Dewsbury field position, and they've capitalised on it. You know, as I said, you keep putting pressure, you keep knocking on the door of the opposition's try line, you're going to get something out of it, and that's what's happened. But it has been Whitehaven's problems, Whitehaven's errors, rather than Dewsbury's good play.
Everett now fetching this ball forward, and what a man to fetch on when you've just taken the lead for the first time. You can fetch on the man of Paul Stikes. Looks like he's going to go out there and just try and lead his side through this game in the final sort of 12-13 minutes, as it will be here at the Flair Stadium. George Senior is going to be the man wrapped up now, just short of halfway. Jack McShane in there at dummy half, met there. Now Jamie Gill just over the halfway line. In goes Linson. Taken down. 5 and last. Jack McShane in there at dummy half will come right into the hands of Hookham, and Hookham will put it up in the air, and Anderson Moore is going to try and get underneath this one, and he does. Anderson Moore out jumping Keenan Tomlinson, and then being stripped, penalty for Whitehaven. Exactly what Whitehaven needed, just to try and get a shift in momentum, try and get up this field. Because yet again, we mentioned in the first half, we looked an awful lot left, Gary. In the second half, we looked an awful lot right.
We are, yeah. It's completely changed, hasn't it? The conditions really haven't played a part in this second half because Whitehaven haven't been able to use them because everything's been down that end of the field.
And just looking at the trees, the wind might have died down a bit as well. We mentioned we felt it bubbling up at the end of the first half, but it's calmed here in Dewsbury. Ellis Nixon's now the man to take it forward. Just over halfway as he plays that ball into the hands of Tyron and then finds Jordan Thompson. Thompson taken down 40 metres out. Holgate in a dummy half. Goes right into the hands of Tyra. Connor Holliday. Short to forward. Referee Dent Arnold not interested. Neither is the touch judge on that far side. Comes back towards him now with Tyra once more. Pops it up into the hands of Jack Kellett. 20 metres out of Whitehaven as Kellett's taken down. Right hand side of the field. Holgate in there at dummy half now, finds Jordan Thompson. A little bit of a fumble, but okay. Doesn't slow his momentum at all too much. Finds his front, 5 and last, 12 metres out. We'll have options left and right here. Will go left, comes into the hands of Newbegin. Comes out now to Ethan Biggerdike. Biggerdike then trying to find Max Anderson Miller. Biggerdike will see it come off the Dewsbury man. I don't think he did. It'll just be a turnover ball 10 metres out, and Whitehaven now have to put a defensive effort in to ensure they can try and stem this Dewsbury floor here.
I think he just showed a little bit of lack of experience in the fullback role there, didn't he? He just forced the pass. It was never really on the way he played it because he just fired it at the wingman and just totally got it wrong and let Dewsbury off the hook a little bit there. I think they'd have been better getting Newbegin on the ball and putting a kick in and trying to get the ball back, I think, rather than going for that power play with a player who's not really known to be playing fullback and not really executed that player well at all.
Right, so that's a change I wasn't expecting. Craig McShane has left the field. I was expecting Jacks. It looks like Hookham to fullback, Sykes to half.
Well, that is a strange one.
I'm not quite sure
I agree with that one.
I don't think I'd agree with that one
because he was looking really dangerous in attack, was McShane. I thought he was Dewsbury's best attacking player.
Into the hands now of George Senior. Senior's taken down. 5 and last, short of halfway here. Jack McShane in at dummy half. Will come right to Hookham. Hookham gets the kick away, but Biggerdike will collect on the full. Collects 20 metres away from his own line and will fetch it forward. Will Biggerdike. 27, 28 metres away from his line when he's brought down, and it's a penalty. Slowed it down far too much there, did the Dewsbury Rams. And Whitehaven have another opportunity here. I make it with under 10 minutes to go here at the Flair Stadium. BBC Radio, Cumbria Sport Online. It's a tight one. And the kick hasn't found touch. Oh, it has just.
Oh. That's a great kick, you know.
He'll never be so lucky again, will Jack Newbegin? He'll never be as lucky again. What's he found? 40 plus metres easily.
That's a great kick.
Mason Loothwaite passes it inside. It's now Jack Kellett. Whitehaven started 20 out. Kellett's now 15 out here. Holgate in at dummy half. Goes right into the hands of Tyra. Finds Jordan Thompson. Thompson will take Whitehaven to within 10 metres. Holgate will lie in wait at dummy half. Scoot himself before finding Jack Kellett. Hands around his head. Stopped 3-4 metres out. Comes left into the hands of Newbegin. Pop back inside to Mason Loothwaite. Loothwaite back inside to Holgate. Probably was forward, yeah, but referee was at the wrong angle to see. Holgate wrapped up, goes right into the hands of Tyra. Tyra with the kick in behind. It's going to have to be dealt with. Copland knocks it dead. Goal line drop out forced by Whitehaven. 8.5 to go as we make it.
That's better. Just put the pressure on Dewsbury at the right end of the field. A nice little kick in there. Forces Copland to knock the ball out on the full and you get another crack at him. That, we talk about game management, whereas before they've been knocking on play one from scrum. That's better. Put it in goal, force a drop out, have another crack at them.
Clock stopped because conveniently every member of the Dewsbury squad, and that should be a penalty, he's kicked the ball away as Garside. Penalty 10 metres out. I tell you what, Whitehaven would have loved that and knocked the two over, wouldn't they? But it's all game management. Game back on, comes with the goal line drop out. He bounces and bounces. Biggerdike gets his foot to it, and now into the hands of Jack Kellett. And Kellett fetches it forward and he's met by the Dewsbury defence. 29 metres out here is Jack Kellett. Holgate in at dummy half, comes left into the hands now of Ellis Nixon from Jordan Thompson. I think we can safely say that Aaron Turnbull has failed his HIA. Into the hands now with Tyra. Over the top, power from Tyra. Coblin's away, and this should be game, set and match for the Dewsbury Rams. Unless Todd can get back, or can Newbegin get back? Gets the ball back inside, that's surely a knock on. It's not, but it should have been game, set and match. That's power from Kieran Tyra. Comes right now into the hands of Paul Sykes to Hookham. To Caelan Jordan. Jordan looks to step back inside. Caelan Jordan. It is now game, set and match. You feel to the Dewsbury Rams, and that all stems from that error from Kieran Tyra. The pass wasn't on over the top. Cobland. And then shift it right, and Caelan Jordan gets his second of the afternoon, and it is now Dewsbury Rams 20, Whitehaven 14, and Jacob Hookham will have his easiest conversion attempt of the afternoon to make it an 8-point gap with less than 7 minutes to go.
Well, I complimented young Tyra on that play, the set before where he drilled a lovely little kick in behind Dewsbury's line, and they kicked it dead to get the drop out on that occasion. See, this is the difference, Jordan, when we talk about game management. When you're chasing the game and when you're looking to close the game out, your decision making's different. And when you're chasing the game, as Kieran Tyra was then, he's gone for the Hollywood ball over the top to the winger, and Copland's read it well, he's intercepted. Didn't have the pace to go full length, but then plenty of support from Dewsbury, and then the easiest of tries really from Caleb Jordan here on that right hand side again. But all down to poor decision making, you know, and as I said, different when you're chasing a game or when you're closing a game out. When you're in front, your decision making is a lot different, and on that occasion, as I say, Kieran Tyra got it all wrong. But previously, the set before, I complimented on that great little kick, and then he's just gone the absolute opposite and gone for a Hollywood ball that was never on, and the result is they've lost the game.
Jacob Hookham, as I mentioned, will have the easiest conversion attempt. He'll have all afternoon to make it an 8-point ball game, and then Whitehaven need at least 2 tries. Haven't seen any from them in this second half, and Hookham does add on the extras now. So it is now Dewsbury Rams 22, Whitehaven 14. And in this half, Gary, they've just been their own worst enemy.
They have. They've you know, the completion. I don't know what the completion rate is, but it's not particularly high. And it's not just that. It's the areas of the field that they've made those errors. You know, they've spilled the ball in their own third of the field, and then they've gone and allowed Dewsbury to attack and score. On that particular occasion, you know, they're attacking the line. Everybody's in momentum. It's an intercept, and it's tough for everybody to get back. So yeah, it's come on the back of their own errors, and I don't think they've posted any points this half either, have they? And you know, there's 2 scores away now, and that doesn't look likely, does it? The way the half's unfolded with what's left, but. Yeah, it was theirs to lose. I said that to you at half time, Jordan, didn't I? That it was Whitehaven's game to lose, and I'm afraid that's what they've done. They've just done it with some poor decision making and some sloppy errors. You can't win a game when you've got poor completion and you're giving penalties away like they have done.
Attempted to go for the same kick-off on the opposite side of the field and got them the ball back earlier in the second half. Do you feel like your ball should have gone up in the air like a Max Anderson-Moore trying to get a high up against maybe like a Joe Summers or someone like that, but elected to go across the field of Whitehaven, and it now means Dewsbury are into this Whitehaven half already. 5 minutes on the clock left as we make it. Jack McShane now finds Paul Sykes, and Paul Sykes is through. Jack Kellett with a last grasp tackle there on Paul Sykes. Goes left into the hands of Dan Coates. Within 5 metres now are the Rams once more, and then now it's a penalty for the ball still, and then they'll take another minute out of this game surely by going for goal. Why Joe Summers is saying we'll roll on, I'll never know. No, take the sting out the game. But you have got a stoppage because Dan Coates is needing some physio attention. 4.5 minutes left as we make it.
I think by going for goal, it's still a two score game, difference game, isn't it? So they probably just want to see their time out at this end of the field. I don't know, but you know, the other thing is if you keep the goal, then you're getting the ball back down here, aren't you? They're just happy camped on Whitehaven's line at the moment, I think, Dewsbury. Well,
they have done that, and they're now playing into the hands of Louis Collinson. Collinson, just short. Yeah, just short is Louis Collinson. Jack McShane in there at dummy half. We've got another stoppage here. Yeah,
somebody's down injured there.
So Whitehaven man, I can't tell you who at the moment.
Today's Dewsbury Rams Man of the Match Award, sponsored by Rita and Lewis Bairstow, goes to Dewsbury Rams centre number 3, Caelan Jordan.
Well, I won't argue with that. He's had a good game as Caelan Jordan.
Yeah, he's been very good. He's been the difference between the two teams, hasn't he? Not just with his tries, but I think he's been a threat every time he's carried.
Just look to see the Whitehaven man. It's Jordan Thompson, and he's going to come off with a HIA.
Another one, yeah.
Yeah, another one. So it's going to have to be Brad Brennan who goes back on. So they're okay to use that because obviously, but if we were in, say, with a bit more time to go, and Jordan Thompson wasn't going to return, Whitehaven will have to finish the game with 12. They had to do that a good few years ago. I remember against North Wales at home, and Anthony Murray would have been coaching North Wales. The only time Whitehaven tasted defeat that year, and they finished the final sort of 3 or 4 minutes with 12 men. But game's back on, comes right now into the hands of Joe Summers. Summers is going to try and twist his way out to the tackle. Dive for the try line. Whitehaven's trying to drag him towards the touchline. Held, called. Jordan in there at dummy half, goes left into the hands of Sykes. Sykes then comes across to Collinson. Nothing daft here from Dewsbury. They're the ones with the advantage in the final few minutes. 5 and last. Jack McShane in there at dummy half, comes left, bounces into the hands of Deck Tomlinson, and Deck Tomlinson will try and put the kick in. Do you know how I've just said nothing daft? Deck Tomlinson just put a kick in, Gary.
Yeah, what they think, yes. I just, again, we keep using this term game management, and both sides have been great with it, have they? They've made some poor decisions at some key times, really.
Tom Farron's now the man to try and fetch it forward here from Whitehaven. If they're going to do anything, they need to do it in this set to give them a hope of anything. Holgate in at dummy half. Farron's now down. Running laterally is Holgate, and it slips. Will escape the clutches, however, will Ellison Holgate. Now just over halfway. It'll be Kellett that dives in at dummy half. Into the hands now of Brad Brennan. And Brennan keeps his legs pumping. Under 3 minutes as we make it. Holgate goes left into the hands of Newbegin. Newbegin looking to try and take the line on himself now. It is the 5 and last. 20 metres out. It needs to be now if anything comes from Whitehaven. Coming this left hand side into the hands of Bickerdike. Bickerdike puts a little kick in behind. It's going to be knocked on. Whitehaven will get a fresh set of 6. McQuiston grabs the ball. Bickerdike in there at dummy half. Goes right into the hands of Kellett. Pops it up there now for Ellis Nixon. Nixon 7 metres out. In line with the left hand side post. Holgate will scoot himself from dummy half. Gets it into the hands of Newbegin. Into the hands now of Caleb Jordan. Knocked on once more, is it? And it will be a scrum down, head and feed to Whitehaven. They need to form the scrum and form it quick. I make it just over 2 minutes to go.
I'll tell you what, Ellison Hobson's had a great game at 9. He's had a great game at 9 for Whitehaven. He looks a threat every time he's got the ball.
Tom Farron's afternoon, he's done. Whitehaven down to 12 for the final 2 minutes. Because, of course, they lost that interchange following Aaron Turnbull. Oh, the fourth official down below us, I think, says there's 4 minutes left. Oh, I mean, that's a favour of Whitehaven if it is, but I don't know where I've lost 2 minutes from. But if there is 4 minutes to go, Whitehaven are doing it with 12 men. Tom Farron is helped from the field by the Whitehaven physio and the kit man, team manager Ellis Gribben. But Whitehaven are finishing this game with 12 men here in West Yorkshire. Goes right from Tyler. Bases scrum. Pass wasn't the best in Newbegin. Right, so we think potentially in and around 4 minutes to go. But he's being pushed back and pushed back is Jack Newbegin. That'll help the Dewsbury Rams course here. Tyler in at dummy half. Now into the hands of Brad Brennan. Brennan finds his front as he's taken down. Holgate scoots from dummy half. Looks to go himself. Ellison Holgate taken down. Really has been Whitehaven's best player out there this afternoon. Once again, you have to say. Holiday looking to go himself. Connor Holiday held up over the line. I make it 80 seconds, but with maybe more left on the clock. As the clock is stopped. 75 seconds as we make it. It's slow.
It is now or never, though, isn't it, for Whitehaven, if they're going to give themselves a chance to score.
Holiday plays the ball, comes left into the hands of Tyra. Now Kellett. Fantastic work from Harvey Roberts. And then plays the ball. Norman's in there. That is game, set and match. Jack McShane is away. Yeah. No one dived in at dummy half. Ellison Holgate can't do it on his own. No one else could dive in at dummy half, and that is all she wrote. Even every now and in the final minute as we make it, on a couple of minutes left on the clock. Paul Sykes will now find Joe Summers. Summers stopped and then eventually taken down. 20 metres out now from the Whitehaven line. Caleb Jordan into the hands of Sykes. Craig McShane's getting ready to be reintroduced out there. I think he's replaced his brother, is it? Is it Jack he's replacing yet? Into the hands now with Deck Tomlinson and Dan Coates. Dan Coates with a dummy! Dan Coates! And they're over there, the Rams. If you've been game set a match before, it certainly is now. And it's Matt Garside, the experienced man, that's got the match winner there for the Rams. It's Rams 26, Haven 14.
Yeah, that's smart from Dewsbury there. They've just gone down the gap where Thomas Farron's missing, isn't it? The centre's come out, so they were short of numbers on that right edge, and that's just where quite smart play really there from young Dan Coates. He spotted that they were short of numbers out there because the centre's gone off, so he got a back rower out there, and he's just exploited it. And Matt Garside's come through and in support and scored under the sticks, and just put a bit of a falseness about the scoreboard. I think, 'cause I don't think they've been that much better than Whitehaven. I think just this second half they've let themselves down a little bit, but certainly on that first half performance, you'd have thought 10 points up at half time they would have gone on and won the game with conditions in their favour, but that's not been the case. Dewsbury have come out revitalised a little bit second half, certainly been better defensively, and things just haven't gone Whitehaven's way.
22 unanswered points at the moment for the Rams in this second half. They were 14-4 down at the break, now 26-14 up, and yet again one of the easiest conversion attempts Jacob Hookham will have all season from right in front. He's taking his time, the ball's just not quite sitting on the kicking tee, especially with the windy conditions that we've had throughout the afternoon here in Dewsbury. The wind's starting to pick up again once more at the back of the stand. We can feel it here as well. They haven't been able to really throughout the contest. Hookham tags on the extras, and it is now Dewsbury Rams 28, Whitehaven 14, and there is the full